without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Joe Nyce, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Nyce. Let's hear it, baby. Let's go, baby.
Thank you, brother. Love you, man. How we feeling out there? So listen, I stayed down here in Baltimore last night. I came down here, obviously, to help somebody that I feel very close and fondly about, and Pete. And we spent the night eating dinner last night, and then this morning I woke up really early. I went for a walk, and I had this whole speech planned out for you guys, right? And then I heard him start talking, and I threw it right out the window. Because when he was asking you guys to ask yourselves all these questions, I started doing the same thing. I started asking myself all these questions, like, how did I get here, right? How did a baby who was born 6 weeks premature with the cord wrapped around his throat because he was in distress, be born not breathing, blue in the face? How does somebody like that grow up to speak for a living? How does a child who learned how to walk with bars on his legs because his legs were messed up from his ankles to his knees, how does he become a college athlete? How does he become a natural bodybuilding champion? How does he become a Spartan race finisher? How does he do something where he dances for a living? How does a young kid who turned the corner his first day of freshman year and seen a new girl standing at her locker and stop dead in his tracks and go, I'm gonna marry that girl, how 25 years later have 3 kids with that person? Right? And I was thinking all these things, and I said, it's pretty simple. I have it on my shirt. Heart and hustle, folks. Right? I honestly believe that you can have most things you want in this world if you have the hustle to work for them and the heart to never give up. And I get to work with kids on a daily basis in school, and I get to coach. I've been coaching my oldest since he's 7 years old. Okay? One of the reasons why I worked the midnight shifts for the past 8.5 years. So all the things that Pete said are true. I do all of these things. But they were sacrifices that I had to make in order to do all of that stuff. So the only way I was going to be able to run a business, coach my children and spend time with my family, be a full-time police officer, do all this stuff was I had to work while everybody else was sleeping. So I signed up for the midnight tour in my police department. I worked 8.5 years, midnight to 8 o'clock. I'd come home in the morning, I'd go right to the gym. From there, I'd go to my office and I'd run my company. My kids would get home, I would take them to practice. I'd eat dinner, I'd sleep for maybe 2 hours, and I'd go back to work. I did that for 8.5 years. So how does somebody do that? Well, I did it, right? And the days where I wasn't working, when I had my days off in the police department, I was normally sleeping by like 8 o'clock on the couch, drooling on myself because I was so tired, right? And now I'm in the schools and I'm working with these young kids. And for some strange reason, something changed where we grew up in this world with instant gratification where everybody wants everything right away. And they're not willing to put in the work and pay the prices and the sacrifice to get it. So I coach baseball, basketball, and football. One of my passions is football, right? And I believe that we only learn from our experiences. We can only talk about what we know. And athletics for me growing up was everything, right? So Pete and I went to the same school, right? I was a kid. My father moved us all over the place. I went to 4 different school districts by the time I was in 7th grade. Right? My kids have been to 1. I'm learning from others' mistakes, right? We can't all make the same mistakes, right? Or we can't make them all ourselves. We got to learn from other people's. My kids will go to 1 school, all right? But I landed in Harrison, which was my 4th district at 7th grade. My first experience with organized football was walking over the Nelson Avenue Bridge on a Saturday morning with the whole town, and Pete will tell you, football is huge in our town. The whole town walking to the games. Parents pushing their kids in strollers, kids throwing footballs, people walking their dog. And we came over the bridge, and there was a tennis court, and you could hear the band playing. You could smell the hot dogs and the hamburgers being cooked on the grill. And then when I got to the entrance of the gate that opened up to the field, here came the varsity football team down the hill. And as a 75-pound, 4'4" midget, they were larger than life to me. That was my NFL. And I watched them walk by me, and they had grass stains on their pants and eye black, and I said, I want to be that. So what did I do? I signed up for organized tackle football, right? And at 7th grade, smallest kid on the field, 0 playing time. Showed up to every single practice. Did everything was asked and expected of me. 0 playing time. 8th grade, same thing. 0 playing time. maybe 1 or 2 plays when the score was out of hand. But never once did I think about quitting. Never once did my parents call up the coach and say, why isn't my child playing more? Which happens on a daily basis nowadays. I just kept putting in the work. Freshman year, I was 4'9", 91 pounds. Played freshman ball. 0 playing time. Every day at practice, in the summers, double sessions, every day. My sophomore year, they told us, I'm sorry, guys, we don't have enough players for a football team. You have 2 options. You can either not play this year, or you can play varsity. Well, I was 105 pounds. I was a monster. There's no way I wasn't going to play football. Sign me up for varsity. Double sessions in the heat. Every day of practice, going against kids that were twice my size. I was a tackling dummy. I got my face kicked in every single day. 0 playing time. And never once did I think about quitting. Junior year, I got promoted to a backup. Woohoo! I got like 2 or 3 plays a game, right? And there I was. And it was the last game of the season where the wide receiver got hurt, and I was the kid that followed the coach around the sidelines like this. Wherever he went, I went. So if he needed somebody, the first person he saw was my face. Before he could even look for anybody else, I was running on the field. There was my parents on the sideline. I was 112 pounds. I'm playing varsity football, right? I caught a pass. I broke 2 tackles. And then my teammate pushed me out of bounds because the time was running out in the first half. So now we fast forward to my senior year. This is what I was working for and envisioning as a little kid, 7th grade, when I watched those players come across the street. It was my turn. I was named captain. Wasn't because I was the most talented. Definitely wasn't because I was the biggest, because I was 120 pounds. Right? But I did everything right for 6 years without complaining. I never left the field my senior year. I did everything. And I can remember, Pete will tell you, we have the #1 high school rivalry game in New York State, Harrison versus Rye. And I can remember my senior year driving on the bus and pulling up to Nugent Stadium and getting out of the bus and seeing 12,000 people there. Thinking, this is my Super Bowl, I made it. All that hard work that I put in, I'm here, I arrived. Got off the bus, we did our warm-up. My parents, my family was in the crowd. This was it, it's game time. I always played my best in the biggest games, right? Not only was I a captain, I was good. I was little, but I was good. So here we go. We're favored to win. They march right down the field and score on us, 6-0. Their crowd is going crazy. Next kickoff, we get it. I catch it. I bring it up to the 49-yard line. Now, Harrison's a football town. We run the football. I was a wide receiver. I blocked 30 times a game. I set a school record for receptions my senior year with 24. All right? We run the rock. We had the best running back in the state. He broke every rushing record in the school, every rushing record in the state. I blocked for him 30 times, and I was damn proud of it. That was my job. But on the first play, in the biggest game of my life, they called a pass. It was coming to me. And I remember breaking out of that huddle, silence. I got to the line of scrimmage, I looked down, I seen my tight end, I seen the quarterback, and all I saw was people and heard nothing. The ball snapped, and I took off. I ran my post corner, 5 yards post, hit him with the inside step, boom, broke to the outside. He buckled and went down. I was wide open. All I saw was the ball. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. Bam! Caught. Gone. 51-yard touchdown in front of 12,000 people. And as soon as I crossed the goal line, the crowd went crazy. You can clap. It's cool. We went on to win that game. Okay, and that was my first touchdown I ever scored in football. And I tell that story because I was willing to put in the work. I was willing to make the sacrifice of my body and the disappointment that I had because I didn't get what I wanted. And often in times in life, you don't always get what you want. Right? It's not that easy. So when I speak to these kids now, I tell them, are you committed? Having goals is great. Are you committed? Right? So Pete, I don't know how to work this little thing here. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so I came up with this saying, right? So I use my name, Joe Nyce, right? Everybody's like, oh, Joe Nyce, that's a cool name. That's not my real name, all right? So in the entertainment business, there was one party planner when I first started out that was particularly fond of me, right? She always called me Joey Nice Guy. So it stuck. Everybody started calling me Joe Nice. And I said, well, if you're going to call me Joe Nice, you can't spell it with an I. I'm from New York. You got to spell it with the Y. So that's where the name Joe Nice came from, right? So I came up with this thing. There's a lot of things that I do, and I use my name all the time. So for athletics, I tell my kids, never settle for anything less than your personal best. Now, I'm not here with kids and athletes, but I'm here with people who are aspiring to be great in their field and what they do. And it doesn't make a difference if it's athletics, academics, or business. It's all the same. You never settle for anything but your personal best, because the pain you guys are going to suffer from regret, knowing that you didn't give everything you have when you didn't get what you wanted, far exceeds the pain that you feel physically and mentally as you're going through all of that process to get what you want. Never settle for less than your personal best. This is a big one. You control the amount of effort that you put forth. Nobody else has that power over you guys. It doesn't matter if the coach likes you. It doesn't matter if your teacher likes you. It doesn't matter if your boss likes you. You control the amount of effort that you put forth, despite the results. Whatever you do it to the best of your abilities, 110%, because it's what you do. Commitment. Everybody loves motivation, right? There's a huge industry of it. We all want to get motivated. But what happens when the motivation walks out the door? What happens when the song shuts off? The question you need to ask yourself, are you committed to your goals? Because motivation and commitment are two totally different things. Are you committed to your goals? You said you wanted it. Nobody else said it. You said you wanted it, right? Will you put in the work? Champions are committed and will do whatever it takes to achieve their goals. There's a lot of people with talent out there, okay, but the champions are the ones that put the talent with the effort. And what do they say? What's the famous word? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Are you committed to your goals, and will you stop at nothing to achieve them? And this is the last one. Guys, everyone fails at some point in life, right? Everybody falls down. Everybody fails. Champions get back up. And I've learned that a loss is only a loss if you don't learn from it. There's wins, and then there's things you learn from. There are no losses in life if you learn from them. If we have the right mindset, it is our failures that are going to propel us to our biggest accomplishments. A champion is just someone who refused to stay down. In life, things will hit you when you least expect it. When your business is going great, when your marriage is phenomenal, when you have 3 healthy children, and you get a phone call at 4:30 in the morning that your father-in-law went missing, and you jump in your car and you go look for him, and you find him with a gunshot wound in his head, dead in front of you, life hits you. Will you get back up? When you have a kid who's sick, like my friend Lou and Cindy, and they lost their 5-year-old son to brain cancer, and turned his tragedy and his life into something that's going to change the world, will you get back up? These are the questions that you need to ask yourself if you want to become a champion. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
Love you, man. Thank you.
You got me. Thank you.